It's time for war. Prepare for heart-pounding battles. The stakes are high with no room for mistakes. The path is brutal, the defenders are ruthless, but the team is ready. Every node, every fight, every second counts. This is Alliance War Season 62.
Welcome back in. It is war number 8. That's right, war number 8. War number 7, well, that was over Thanksgiving. Kind of took a little bit of a break and was doing some fights in some situations that weren't ideal, so I actually forgot to record it. I do have the stats at the end. It wasn't great, but we're going to move on with war number 8. And as always, we're on path 4 here, and we've got the Maker going up against Captain Britain. Couldn't think of a better counter for this one. He counters the node, he counters her. Here, I'm doing this live on one of my live streams, so I was just kind of thinking and talking, and here we go. So now the plan here is to really just fight her fairly normal. Once we get the trap, we're going to try to knock her down as much as possible. We did put on a couple pre-fights, so we are going to knock her down as we go as well, just to kind of keep those going. And there, I could have thrown a special one. Probably should have thrown a special one then, but we'll do a nice little special one intercept. And, honestly, I prefer baiting her special 2. Anyway, it is much easier to dex for me. I hate slow-moving projectiles, and her special 1 just happens to have one of those. So here, now we're just going to hold heavy. We're going to reset that trap. We're going to push her back over it. And that's kind of it from here on. That's what we're wanting to do. You're going to see a lot of... There was supposed to be a parry, but of course we couldn't do it, so we're just going to get the striker out. Now all we need to do is get her to come up with a trap, and there we go, nice little 45k explosion, and Captain Britain's down, and we move to the second fight. And that second fight up is going to be Future Ant-Man here. Just kind of thinking through, do I want to put on one of her pre-fights? Do I want to use a boost? I'm going to use the advanced power boost. I'm going to use her pre-fights in a fight coming up later. So here, we're just going to go in with a power start 1. Plan is to get to our special 2, drop it, and yeah, it doesn't really do much except for it applies a bunch of poisons, and that's what I'm looking for. Lately, I have been really struggling fighting Future Ant-Man. I've struggled in Battlegrounds, I've struggled in war fighting him. I don't know why. I fought him for years and never really had any issues. But just lately, maybe it's the addition of the 7-star, in fact that he hits a ton harder. It's just been a struggle. So here, we kind of missed the buff immunity. I did a heavy attack when I should have just done a combo into a special 1, but I wanted the Fury. I wanted to hit just a little bit harder. Here, we get a nice clean dex on the special 1. And this fight is almost over, which is good. I don't like the fights going on too long. I do have the glancing debuff up. I've got, his disintegrate debuff up on me. It's not pretty, but you know what? We're staying close to a full yellow bar until right there. That lovely little walk-up light. I just love those things with a passion. But, all in all, losing 10% health to a Future Ant-Man, taking him down in, a little bit over a minute. Not a bad fight there for Nico. I said I wanted that power start 1 for the next fight, and well, here's that next fight, and it's Moleman against Void, and this is just going to be a couple parry heavies, let Void hit in my block, drop a special 2, and pray that I don't lose too much health. That's pretty much it. There's going to be some health loss on this fight. You get the severe debuffs, nothing you can do to shrug those off, so, it is just what it is, and I'm, here, we're going to let him hit in the block, like I said. Now we're going to drop a special 2. We didn't build up as many Furies on this node as you can against some people, which is okay. Here, Void throws his special, and we're just going to finish him off with a couple more hits. Very, very nice, very quick, 23 seconds. Lost just a little bit of health. Now for the fight that when I saw the map, I was like, oh man, Nico can take that easy. And then I got to about here, and I started thinking, well, let's see, the node's going to place the, the heal block debuff on me. I'm going to get the power sting. Oh yeah, Serpent does have a debuff that he puts on, and the fear debuff, so that's 3, which means, yeah, Serpent's going to be unblockable almost this entire fight. That's not going to be fun. So you can see here, I am just kind of sitting, trying to think through how this is going to go. Ideally, I push him to special 2s, but I can't, bait heavies and do things like that. So, okay, well, let's just get in. We're going to do a bunch of as much damage as we can. We're going to try to keep the buff immunity up. Here you can see, you know, we're doing okay so far. He throws a special one and boom, he is now unblockable the rest of the fight. You can't dex his specials, so I'm just kind of coming through here saying, okay, how the heck am I going to do this? I could use the invisibility throughout, but you know, you notice I lost the buff immunity. I kind of need that for the end of his life. Here he throws a special one. Well, you know what? You just got to eat it. You know, you got to take the hits where you get them, and that was one of them. So here we get a nice clean intercept. We're going to throw a special 2, get that buff immunity back up on there. You know, like I said, we're trying to get him to throw his special 2 there. We pushed him up over 2 bars with the striker, so now he throws his special 2, and because I have the buff immunity on, I can dex it, and then we do a nice special 1 intercept to keep the buff immunity up there. Okay, now we are invisible. That gives us a chance to get a clean opening. He's going to throw his special. We're going to eat every bit of it. Fortunately, it doesn't kill us. Here, we need to get off another special 1. We get off the special 1. All right, so we got the buff immunity up. He's at 14%. I need 1 opening so I can get in there and kill him before the buff immunity expires. Ooh, it's going to be close. He's not giving me any openings, but fortunately, we get through that because if he throws that next special 1, I die. He doesn't. And that's a lot tougher fight than I thought it was going to be. Very, very good placement. Congrats to them on an excellent, excellent placement of Serpent. All right, you can see here we did heal up Moleman a little bit. He is now full health. We've got this M.O.D.O.K here. We've taken this fight before. This one's a little bit of a different Moleman fight because you don't necessarily want to go into Frenzy. You want to stay out of Frenzy because, you know, when you stay out of Frenzy and under 10 monster mass, you are able to auto block or hit through auto block and, you know, champions don't evade. So I did do a parry heavy there just because I wanted the easy openings. I wanted him to hit my block and just give me that easy opening at the beginning. Here, you know, it's kind of the same style fight, and you can see all the auto block fails popping up over there. Here we drop a special 2. He gets his special 2, not a big deal. But the problem is now I'm at 7 charges. So if he hits in my block like that, I'm going to go into Frenzy. And well, you noticed right there, as soon as you're not in Frenzy, that auto block comes into play. But that's okay. You know, he only hit me a couple times, got me up to a special 2 with a Frenzy, and well, that kills most things. That big old ugly M.O.D.O.K down in 43 seconds. Moving ahead to the node I usually love using Ironheart for, couldn't fit her on the team, so we're going to try Maker here. There, I was thinking, okay, I've only got 2 pre-fights. Do I want to put more? No, I'm taking the boss. I need to save them for later. So we're just going to go into this APOC just the way it is. You know, just kind of thinking through things. Do I want to put anything on? Yeah, I'm going to throw on an invuln boost just in case. You know, I don't have the comfort of Ironheart turning off the bubble shield node, so we're going to have to use the Maker to do this fight, and you know, I'm going to take some blocked hits. You know, his APOC specials are a little tricky to dex all of it. You could do it, but once again, as always in war, I kind of fight very, very safely, so not going to do a lot of it. And fortunately, you know, we get through a good chunk of this fight with only a few blocked hits. You know, here you can see he's going to throw his special. That gets me 2. I evaded one of them. Of course, I get parried. And, you know, the nice thing about it is his little evade there on the stun doesn't count as a hit. So, you know, I'm staying very, very good on the hit counter here. We're just trying to push him back. We want to push him back over that, which is perfect. I stayed above 2 bars of power. There's a reason for that. Here, he's going to throw his special. I do get rooted, and then I take a couple hits. Well, that's what that invuln boost was for. Now, all we have to do is push him back a little bit. That was bad. You know, for some reason I cut my combo short, and well, you know what? It kind of cost me there. I couldn't push him, or the special 2 was blocked. So you know what? Let's just push him back over the trap. Let's just get this done with. Here, you know, we can do it one more time. Then we're just going to throw a special 1. We just want to reactivate the trap. That's really all it's for, because as soon as he walks over that trap, he's going to die. I'm rooted. You know, kind of an ugly fight, but you know what? It was full yellow bar, and, you know, ugly or not, it's a win. Unfortunately, in this one, I couldn't find a counter for any of the champions in that middle island that I could bring with me. So I decided, you know what, we're just going to skip that middle island. We're going to go right up to Boss Island. We're going to do Node 47. We're going to do Shocker here. And I remember saying on my live stream when I was doing this, all I need in this fight is to be able to get a parry heavy off at the very beginning. That's all I'm trying to do. Parry, nope. The timing, because Shocker reduces stuns, just kind of blew everything up. And you know what? It kind of threw the whole fight off from there. You know, it's okay. You know, we don't get any charges, so we don't get any clean openings. There, he got the unstoppable from the node. I wasn't thinking about it because, well, the whole point of that parry heavy was to get the grit passive up. And, whoa, okay, well, let's reset here a little bit. Let's go ahead and get his special out. Now, let's knock him down. That'll get us the grit. Okay, now we've got the grit. We can not have to worry about the unstoppable. Now we had at least one charge on us, so we can hit right into him. Okay, we're back. Now we can do a parry heavy. Okay, we've got 4 charges. You know, we've got the grit. We're in good shape there. I completely missed the dex on the special part of his special. There, we get the falter. I am just struggling at this point. I'm throwing the special 3, and I'm saying to myself, okay, let's reset. Let's focus up. Typically, I would skip this, but I'm just using the time to kind of reset my brain, refocus. You know, I know I'm going to have to take at least one more special 2 into block here. We are, at least fortunately, in frenzy now, so he just needs to throw his special. There, he throws a heavy. I wanted to go ahead and take care of frenzy a little bit. You can see I've got the falter up. Fortunately, falter doesn't. And look at that. I somehow missed the dex again. He hits me. Fortunately, he stopped hitting me. One more hit, and I would have died. Here, we're just going for it. Okay, drop the special 2, finish this guy off. Holy crud, that was a lot harder fight than it had to be because I played horribly. But Moleman is just that good, and he took me to the win. And thank you to Shocker for not finishing that combo and finishing me off. And I forgot to mention it earlier, we did drop to tier 3. That's why I'm able to use Nico. And well, you know, if you're going to be in a tier 3 war, don't put Karolina Dean on this node. It is Nico food. You know, you either have to ban Nico or put somebody else here. When I got to this fight, I was either going to do Moleman or Nico, depending on who was healthier. Nico was much healthier after that Shocker fight, so we drop a heal on. We drop on a regen boost just to top up. I don't think it was going to be needed, but just in case we get hit by a special, I wanted to be as full on health as humanly possible. Don't do any pre-fights, anything like that. We're going to get up to a special 2 quick enough, you know, especially if she's nice enough to throw special 1s like that. That was very, very nice. Here, she throws one. It's in the sun. I missed the dex. That's okay. Here, we're going to drop our special 2. We're going to get the buff immunity on. And as soon as it's on, look at the number of poisons. Look at the number. This is why you don't put Karolina on this node. Here, we're going to drop another special 2. And at this point, you know, she's just going to tick down from the poisons. I don't really need to hit her again, although I do. Quick little 30-something second takedown of Karolina Dean. All right, and it's time for a little bit of boss action. We've got this Jean Grey here we're going to be using to make her, and I'm just kind of thinking through the fight. Like I said, I was doing this on a live stream, so I was doing a little bit of reading and a little bit of chatting, and, you know, eventually here we will throw on the pre-fights. There we go. So we're going to activate all 3 of them. We have plenty to spare. Could have used some on that APOC after all. Wasn't really thinking through things, but it's okay. You know, so now we just come in, and the plan here is to special 1, special 3, and then repeat special 3s. I like the special 3 because, you know, it activates that trap so that I think it's like every half second it reactivates. So if you can get her to bounce back and forth over that trap, you do a lot of damage. Here, we were just kind of waiting out the stun immunity. Now we can knock her down. So here we get our special 1 off. All right, now from here on, I just want to throw special 3s till near the end. If we can finish her with a special 2, great. You know, a majority of our damage in this fight comes from that trap. So that's the whole plan. The other problem I had in this fight is I kept using my evade when she was stun immune. You know, you'll see it throughout the fight. It doesn't really cost me anything other than some time. You know, I just couldn't get her back over that trap enough I could have finished the fight a little bit quicker than I do. There's a nice little heavy. We kind of, lost our debuffs at the beginning. That's fine. We just, like I said, that was the thing that was hurting me most there. The stun immunity came back mid-heavy. I was holding that heavy and I was like, oh, well, then I just decided I was going to try and hold it to see if I could get her to walk into it, and it didn't work. So nice little special 3 time here. The other nice thing about fighting Jean Grey is she does put some debuffs on there. So, you get a little bit of willpower healing during the fight. And now see here, the whole plan is to get her over that trap. There we go. We had to strike her to get her over it. Now we want her to come back. Now we want to evade. Now we want to heavy her back over it. Now we want her to run, but the timing was already up. That's the hard part. Every once in a while when you do this special 3, if she's aggressive when you come out of it, and you don't get a parry right away, you lose a lot of the trap time there, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. Here, we just want to heavy. We want to knock her over it. Very, very nice. We're going to bait out a special. We're going to go in. We're going to get to our special 3 now. Let's see if we can do a better job of knocking her over the trap this time. There, we get the nice little parry stun. 2 hits. She throws her special. Beautiful. Now we're going to go ahead and hit her back over it. We're going to strike her. Probably shouldn't have strike her there because it pushes her over it without actually activating it. And there you can see that's what we wanted her to do. We want her to run back and forth over it like that. We don't want to get hit. She was stun immune, didn't realize it. We don't want to get hit there. So, not the end of the world. Like I said, I've been healing up enough here. We can finally do a heavy where we can hold the heavy and get her over that trap. And now we can drop another special 3 here. And this fight is almost over. You can see there, back and forth over the trap. That's what we want. That's really what we want here. We're going to let her run back and forth over it. She's going to throw a special. It's going to reactivate. We're going to hit her back over it. It's going to reactivate. It's perfect. Now all we need to do is really either hit her back over that trap one more time. Oh, doesn't kill her. So we're close to a special 2. We're going to back away. We're going to get a parry, and we're going to drop our special 2. We're going to push her over that trap, and boom, she is down. And that finishes off war number 8 of the season. And with this war done, we only have one more war left in the season. Shortened season because of the holidays, which I'm not going to argue with. And then we've got the off season coming up, which will be very, very nice. Looking at my season total so far, including war number 7, we have 75 kills and 6 deaths. Like I said, war number 7, just kind of a different war because of Thanksgiving and because of family and trying to do a bunch of different stuff. Didn't really get all the recordings done, so unfortunately, no war video for that. But if you did like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below with how your season's going. And until the next one, hope everybody has a great holiday and take care all.